Hey, everybody, this is Joe, and this is the 32nd day of teaching in this my last semester as a college professor. And I guess I should talk about what happened today. Well, it was an interesting day. Um, the students were here at 9:30, and it was great. I was taking a piano lesson outside in my living room, and I heard them talking, and it's always great for me to hear them talking because it shows that they're really engaged with each other, if not necessarily with the class. And it started out with them complaining, one student actually complaining about the fact that she wasn't able to finish all of her my English lab assignments, and that I had closed down the site, or terminated that part of the site where she could do that homework. And so I told her that I would definitely reward the people who had done it, which I probably won't do because who cares, And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean, oh my god, it's just too much information. And then I wanted them to do it, so it was a win-win for me because I don't have to go in and grade right now. Not that there's a lot to grade, but the other thing is that I was able to make them feel like, oh, okay, well, we have another opportunity. And I think that will motivate them to go ahead and do the work that they need to do. So that was a win. And then I discussed the exam next week. And, only 8 out of 20 people had taken the test so far. And I was okay with that because I really wasn't ready to discuss the practice exam that I had given them and don't even remember the questions for. So not that I couldn't have done it extemporaneously, but I just felt like, let them have another day, another crack at it, and push them into it, and let's see what happens with them and that would be great. Um, and then we got into grammar, and we were doing comparisons, which are not easy, but the book starts out kind of doing as, what's as, and it's not really that interesting, but they are, you know, they can learn it. It's not difficult to learn, and they seem to pick up on it. And then we did comparisons to superlatives, and they did a pretty good job on that. As usual, because time goes very quickly if you spend a half an hour or more discussing just the meta qualities of the class. In other words, the class about the class, not necessarily the material in the class, then you're going to lose a lot of time that you could use for work. But that's okay. I mean, I'm at the point where I'm just thinking, let's shepherd them through the best I can. I see all the failings, not in them, they're not failings, but, just in my teaching, in just the whole idea of education right now. And, I haven't lost the call. Don't think that, but I've lost the ability to, I just my virtual, whatever it is, my desire to be the best is still strong, of course. But I'm beginning to realize, this is just a way station, and I'm going to be forgotten, man. I want to go back to something. When I like my colleagues, and I've always enjoyed being with them. And even though I've never been a real active member of any department activities, I still think that it's good to have them, and I admire and respect them, and I think that they're very knowledgeable and probably much more knowledgeable than I, most of them in every area. But a couple of meetings ago, or just before the semester began, Jeff, our chair, had said, and now Biden's in, like it was some big prize that we got Biden into the president's office. Believe me, I didn't want Trump, and I'm not interested in having him back. But at the same time, just this kind of like, like, oh, whatever it is, it's just like this kind of like censorship of thoughts and censorship, and it's real. It's not just imaginary. You can't really speak your mind here. Not that I need to, not that it's so important. I mean, I'm willing to be wrong about things, but it's like been a problem just in my relationship with Chris, and just, like, it's like you can't stand for anything because, it seems somewhat archaic or somewhat chauvinistic to have any kind of thought about saving a country or saving, certain institutions within the country or valuing certain values that were valued. And, I'm sure every generation goes through this, and I know I'm not alone in this. But at the same time, it's just gotten to the point where I'm like a drummer out of step with everybody else, and I don't mind that. I actually have always valued being a little bit of a rebel, but the reality is I'm just not enjoying that, you know, I don't think I'm doing anything really valuable here. I think helping students to get along, but mostly I'm just kind of like pacifying their needs. And I don't think that's bad. Anyway, the rest of the class, okay, so that's an aside. Now I'll get back to the class. So the class went pretty well. I mean, so we did the grammar and then I gave them a 24-minute break and I had to talk to a couple of students about, this Italian project that's like an albatross around my neck, although I spent an hour talking with Sarah Toso, the Italian English teacher this morning, and we did have a good productive time together. But at the same time, I'm just thinking like, why did I get into this in my last semester? This is not something I really wanted to spend a lot of time working on. And then that's it. But one thing I did do was I skirted the need to give them a writing assignment, which was good. Even though I talked about writing in this class as well as yesterday's class. And I'm just thinking, okay, just I don't like the action of sitting down and having to read 40 papers or 50 papers. I think back 35 years of sitting, I was talking to my friend Giovanni, who's a horse person, and I was thinking back to like when I watched like the Pat Pirelli lessons at the arena in the Equestrian Center of LA. And I would sit there, and while everybody else was watching the horses and enjoying that, I'd be grading papers. And I just think 30 years, 40 years of doing this, come on, it's got to end. It just isn't valuable to me in the way that it was at one time. And the sacrifices I made and what I lost of my humanity in all of this is like really like important. Now, I want to talk about that because teachers do lose humanity and they do it by very odd ways, which is, you just give up so much of yourself that you kind of lose the gusto of life. And if anything, that's what I want to get back. Anyway, this is not a good day for me overall. But then the break came. We spoke about writing and how to put in quotations, but it wasn't a really good lesson to be honest. I just said, okay, here's a quotation. This is where you put it. And that's all you need to know, really. And then we did some other little exercise, and then we got into the island of the Blue Dolphins. And I only want the students to get through chapter 10, and I'm pretty sure they can do that. But at the same time, it's not, my favorite, they did well. I mean, they read the book well. I was so shocked at Anush how beautifully she read, and I got to keep working those people in because I don't see them on the screen if I'm on my own screen, watching what I'm doing online. So I got to just figure that out a little bit better here. Anyway, I'm freaked out. I'm okay. I'm freaked out. I'm okay. Thank you.